Wake up, Neo. What, Neo?
Imagine this. You're sitting somewhere quiet, maybe with coffee, maybe pretending to work, maybe actually working, which would be suspicious but impressive. And suddenly, out of nowhere, a memory appears. A real one. Something from years ago. A conversation, a face, a moment. It feels clear, detailed, personal. It feels true.
Oh yeah. I used to hang out on Mars.
Now, here's the problem. There is a very high chance that what you just remembered did not happen the way you think it did. Not slightly off, not a little blurry around the edges, but fundamentally altered, rewritten, edited, possibly completely wrong.
Oh yeah. I used to hang out on Mars.
And the worst part? You have absolutely no way of knowing. Welcome to your memory, the system you trust the most and understand the least. Let's start simple. You probably believe your memory works like a recording, like a camera. Something happens, it gets stored, you replay it later. Nice, clean, logical. No, completely false. Your brain is not recording reality, it's reconstructing it every single time. That means when you remember something, you're not pulling out a file. You're rebuilding the experience from fragments, pieces, hints, emotions, context, and then your brain fills in the gaps, confidently, aggressively, with zero hesitation.
Really?
It's like a storyteller who forgot half the story but refuses to admit it. Now here's where it gets interesting and slightly terrifying. Every time you remember something, you change it. Yes, you don't just recall memories, you rewrite them. Imagine opening a document, editing it slightly, saving it, and then forgetting that you edited it. Do that enough times, and you end up with a completely different story. But it still feels original, still feels real, still feels like truth. Because your brain doesn't keep track of versions. It just keeps the latest draft. Congratulations! You are running memory number 327, and you don't even know what version 1 looked like.
That's true.
Now, let's make it worse, or better. Depends on how much you enjoy existential discomfort. Your brain doesn't prioritize accuracy. It prioritizes usefulness. It asks, does this memory help you survive? Does it make sense of the world? Does it protect your identity?
Oh yeah.
If the answer is yes, even if it's wrong, especially if it's wrong, because sometimes the truth is inconvenient. So your brain edits it, softens it, or dramatically improves it. Let's be honest. In your memories, you're probably a slightly better version of yourself. A little smarter, a little quicker, a little less awkward. That one argument, you definitely had the perfect comeback. In real life, you said nothing and thought of it 3 days later in the shower. But your memory? Oh no, your memory fixed that. Now you're a legend. Now let's talk about something called false memories, which is a polite scientific term for your brain made something up and you believed it. People can remember events that never happened, entire conversations, childhood moments, even emotional experiences that feel completely real. There are experiments where researchers simply suggest something and people later remember it, not vaguely, not uncertainly, but vividly, with details, with emotion, with absolute confidence, which raises a very uncomfortable question. How many of your memories are not real? Take your time. No rush. Just sit with that.
So where is the real me?
Now here's something even stranger. Memories are not stored in one place. They're distributed across the brain. Bits of sound, bits of image, bits of feeling, bits of meaning, all stored separately. So when you remember something, you're assembling a puzzle, but some pieces are missing. So your brain fills them in with whatever seems right. And your brain is very good at seeming right. It's like a magician. You don't see the trick, you just see the result, and you trust it.
That's true.
Now let's bring in emotion, because emotion doesn't just color memory, it rewrites it. Felt intense, your brain amplifies it. If something felt scary, your brain makes it scarier. If something felt important, your brain makes it central to your story, even if it wasn't. Which means your past is not just remembered, it's curated, edited for drama, for meaning, for narrative. Your brain is basically a Netflix producer working on the story of you, and it loves exaggeration. Now here's where things get slightly absurd. You think your memories define who you are. Your identity is built on your past, your experiences, your story. But if your memory is unreliable, then your identity is built on what exactly? A collection of approximations? A highlight reel with creative edits? A story that keeps changing? So who are you? The person who lived those moments, or the person who remembers them? Because those are not always the same. Now let's go deeper, because why not? What if memory is not about the past, but about the future? Think about it. Your brain uses memory to predict what will happen, to guide decisions, to avoid danger. So memory is less like a museum and more like a simulation tool. It's constantly adjusting, updating, optimizing, which means accuracy is optional. But usefulness, that's everything. So your brain might distort the past to improve your future, which is kind of impressive and slightly manipulative. Now let's add a fun twist. There's something called the Mandela Effect. Groups of people remembering the same thing wrong, collectively, confidently, as if reality itself changed, or as if our memories are just very, very good at syncing errors. Either way, it's weird and slightly unsettling. Because if many people can remember the same false thing, then memory is not just unreliable individually, it's unreliable socially. We can agree on things that never happened. We can build shared illusions, which means history itself might be a little flexible. Now don't panic. Actually, panic a little. It keeps things interesting. But here's the part nobody talks about enough. Even though memory is unreliable, it works. You recognize people. You navigate the world. You learn. You adapt. So clearly, the system is doing something right. It's just not doing what you think it's doing. It's not preserving reality. It's constructing meaning. Now, let's go slightly darker. What if your happiest memories are not as happy as you think? What if your worst memories are worse than they actually were? What if your brain is constantly adjusting your past to maintain a certain version of you, to protect you, to justify your decisions, to keep your story consistent? Which means your past is not fixed, it's alive, changing, evolving, just like you. Now here's the twist. This is not a bug, it's a feature, a perfectly designed system that sacrifices accuracy for adaptability. Because a perfectly accurate memory system might actually be a disadvantage. Too much detail, too much truth, too much noise. You'd be overwhelmed, stuck in the past, unable to move forward. So your brain simplifies, compresses, edits, and yes, sometimes lies.
Oh yeah, I used to hang out on Mars.
But those lies help you function, help you grow, help you survive. Now let's step back for a second, because this might feel like everything is falling apart. Your memories aren't reliable. Your identity is flexible. Your past is negotiable. Great, very comforting. But here's another way to look at it. You are not trapped by your past, because your past is not fixed. It's dynamic, which means change is always possible. Reinterpretation is always possible. Growth is always possible, because the story is not finished. It's being written right now, in real time, and you are both the character and the editor. Now let's bring in a bit of humor before we all spiral. Imagine arguing with someone. That's not how it happened. Yes, it is. No, it's not. Yes, it is. And both of you are wrong, but also convinced you're right. That's human interaction, a beautiful exchange of confident inaccuracies. Now imagine this on a global scale. History debates, cultural narratives, collective memory. Suddenly everything feels a little more flexible. Now here's the final twist. Even if your memories are not perfectly true, your experience is you felt those moments. You lived something. Even if the details changed, the impact is real. So maybe memory is not about truth. Maybe it's about meaning, about how you interpret your life, about the story you tell yourself. And maybe that story matters more than perfect accuracy, because it shapes who you become. Now let's end this somewhere surprisingly positive. Because yes, your memory is unreliable. Your past is not fixed. Your brain is constantly rewriting your story. But that doesn't make reality meaningless. It makes it flexible, open, creative. Because if the story can change, then you can change. If the past is not a prison, then the future is not predetermined. And if your brain is constantly constructing reality, then maybe you have more influence than you think. So the next time you remember something, Pause for a second and ask yourself, is this exactly what happened? Or is this the version that makes sense now? Because that question, that tiny moment of awareness, changes everything. And trust me, this is just the beginning. Because if memory is this strange, imagine what else is happening behind the scenes. Thoughts, perception, consciousness itself. It gets weirder, much weirder. So stay curious, stay slightly skeptical, and maybe don't trust your brain too much. Because in the next videos, we're going even deeper, and it only gets stranger from here.